Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Well, Happy New Year, everyone. 2024 was a very interesting year for me. There were a lot of highs and lows. There was a lot of getting to do what I love to do, but having to deal with all the other shit that comes with doing what you love to do. It's kind of interesting. I'll get to that in a moment. So, we began the year 2024 with me in the height of my art career. I had been making art for a little bit over a year now, and now I had started to branch out to other segments of art. I started drawing Mondrian squares, as you guys remember, on canvases. And I started to indulge in dabble with other art. It was mostly the Mondrian squares that took off. At first, I started with drawing, though. Later on, I did other things with them. My inspiration was that I was trying to anodize sheets of tantalum. And the only thing I could get on the patterns on the tantalum was that I would put tape over parts of the tantalum, so I could only make straight lines. And so I decided to Google what kind of mathematical structure is full of straight lines, and that's when I discovered Mondrian squares. And that turned very well. It didn't work very well with the anodizing, but it worked very well with drawing it. So sometimes you just get inspiration from one part of art and you apply it to another. And then I scored massively on my first art show earlier this year. And I got very inspired to work with all sorts of other things. And I was very lucky. Bismuth prices took a big beating because Trump kept threatening to impose tariffs, and the Chinese just got nervous and started dumping all sorts of shit into the market, including bismuth, obviously. We had a solar eclipse in April. And I learned from past experience when I ask for time off from work to do these things, I have to be in the driver's seat. It's not, can I go see the solar eclipse? Can I do this? I'm going to be away for the solar eclipse in April. Let me know what I can do to get ahead of that with the students, with grading, with staff meetings or whatever. And let me know if there's anything I can catch up with online. And be in the driver's seat of that discussion to ask for time off, right? What can I do to earn that time? Or what can I do to make that work, right? I've learned to do it that way. In the past, I was too timid to do that. Oh, what can I do? And so, can I have this day off? Would it be a problem? The students come first, but I would love to have this day off. And don't make it optional. Make them ask you not to take the day off if it were to come to that, not you asking for the day off, right? Start with, I'm going to be off. What can I do to make this work out, right? And if it's realistically they can't do it, they'll have to push, right? But I took the 3-4 days off, and I had a great time. What I really loved about the solar eclipse was not the eclipse viewing itself. It wasn't even the mingling with the locals. Here's what I really loved about it. You see, maybe I only work 4 or 5 days a week, right? Monday through Thursday or Friday, and a certain number of hours on those days, right? But the reality is that the clock ticks relentlessly. Let me give you an example. Let's say I get off work at 5 p.m. on a Tuesday, and by the time the bell rings for me to get out of that classroom, I'm already thinking about what needs to be done in order for tomorrow morning to happen, right? I might have to cook a meal. I might have to eat a meal. I have to go to bed at a certain time. And, maybe I want to go out to do something. But you know what? Even though it's been decades since I moved out of my parents' home, I feel like I still have a curfew, right? And so even when I'm out there doing whatever I love to do or eating or whatever, the clock tick-tock, 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 relentlessly through nights, through weekends, when I'm out on a date, when I'm sleeping, even in my dreams, sometimes the clock continues to tick. I'm not joking when I say that. But when I went to the solar eclipse, it was a 3-4 day trip. I got a reprieve from that. Right now I'm in Taiwan, and I still feel a little bit of a ticking clock because I have students who I'm answering emails. I really should turn that off, but that's easier said than done. I love all of my students. And But the clock, even though you might only work 30, 35 hours a week, the clock tick tocks 168 hours during the week, nonstop. Weekends, nights, even on vacation sometimes, depending on how relaxed you are. It ticks when you're out dating. When I finally walk down the aisle, it will probably tick during that time as well. When I was at my grandmother's funeral, oh my God, it ticked. Right, when I'm on my deathbed, I'll probably still be answering emails if I'm still teaching at that time. And it's just relentless. But it went away during the couple of days when I was at the solar eclipse. It really did. It really did. It was like I floated on air. And when I came back, I decided I needed to set firmer boundaries. And you know what happened? I went to we had a graduation at Phoenix College, and I had a really nice conversation with a girl who graduated there. Now, granted, she's not relationship material, but it's still nice to know her. I still talk to her on Facebook, and a lot of inspiration. Sometimes I use her as almost like target practice for the people that I actually want to date. Right? She doesn't know that, but we got into the summer, and the summer was really tricky. We had a heat wave, 110, 115 degrees, and I got COVID-19. And when I went out, I got very hostile treatment by society. I was lethargic, I was dehydrated, I was disoriented. I only wanted to pick up some comfort foods, and so I got really rotten treatment. And when I got home from that, I swore that I needed to network more with somebody. If I had lived with somebody, that might not have been a problem. I also swore that I needed to better my financial situation, because had I been able to order that stuff on Uber Eats or whatever, that might not have been that big of a problem either. But I had neither. And to top it off, the following month, I got my car insurance premium bill, and it had skyrocketed a lot because of Let's Go Brandon. And I talked to a friend, and I discovered that he's about the same age as me. He has similar driving record as me. You know, we both haven't gotten into an accident for 7 years, and he pays like half as much as I do, simply because he's married. And that prompted me to try dating again, but I didn't have very good luck. I would go to a board game event on meetup.com, and I would think about asking a girl out on a date, but I never got the opportunity. I would be in a group with 20, 30, 40 people, and there might be 5 girls there that I would be willing to date. But there would be no opening for me to even ask. You gotta understand what an environment of 20, 30, 40 people sounds like, right? Maybe I'm going about it the wrong way. I thought about, given how unsuccessful I have been with that, maybe the next time pass a note? I don't know. Because I can't speak over a crowd like that. Not without embarrassing myself. The other day I was at a meeting at work, and I couldn't get a point across because I would get cut off before I got to the meat of the matter. Right, so what had happened was we had a grading system that was difficult to use. And before I could even get to the grading system, somebody would interrupt me. Oh, by the way, when I was working with Mike the other day and I wanted to grade his, oh, Mike is doing this or whatever. Oh, by the way, when I started grading, for example, this problem, x plus 2 equals 1. Oh, by the way, do you love this equation? I was so frustrated by that. I literally had to pound my fist on the table. Obviously, you can't do that when you ask a girl out on a date. You can barely do it at a workplace meeting without really embarrassing yourself. So I'm going to have to think hard. Maybe I really do have to pass a note, because if it's going to work, it's going to work. If it isn't, it beats trying to look for an opening to speak, right? I don't know. Maybe one of these days I'll draw some art and put the ask on the back of that. I don't know. Hey, I'm an artist, so would you like to get to know more of my art? With the art on the back, and text me when you get a chance. I don't know. I don't think anything terrible can happen of that, and it beats the nothing I'm already getting, right? Anyways, after a lot of frustration with that, I decided to offer a reward for anybody who can set me up on a blind date, because I knew in my heart if I got one blind date, I couldn't branch out from there. right? It might not be my future wife that somebody sets me up with, but it will be a starting point, right? I'll get to know her friends and beyond, right? And so I started with offering a 1 kilogram silver bar. And when that didn't work, I started adding even more stuff to the reward. I added quite a few other medals and some other art projects that were not medals. And eventually, my friend at the church, the guy I was envious about the car insurance with, won the reward. And the date has gone beyond my wildest dreams, I want to say. I won't say too much about it because it's ongoing, obviously. And I discovered the 1 kilo. I gave it to him because I'm a man of my word. But I discovered the 1 kilogram silver bar wasn't the best reward to give. I can get a lot more mileage by giving a much less expensive medal that I can be a little bit more creative with, right? And so that's good. But I gave it to him, and you know what? He learned about silver, and it looks like he's investing in silver mining stocks on his own. I was showing him how the mining stocks have really lagged silver prices, and he likes that. So that's good. But that takes us to now. I'm a little bit bummed out about. I have a dream job. I teach at 2 different community colleges, but one of the colleges has facilities that really suck. And I was talking to a number of friends here in Taiwan about what to do about that. They're living in dreamland. Nobody in America would dare challenge the kind of things that they were telling me about. And that really sucks. What kind of facility problems am I talking about? Well, for starters, I am a recovering, I have eating disorders. I'm in recovery from that. I don't know how many of my viewers are like that. Now, the last thing I need as a recovering eating disorder sufferer is any barrier that comes in between me and my food, right? Anything that discourages. Let's face it, our days are filled with so many things that we want to do that we don't have time to do. Art projects, going above and beyond with the students, giving them 120% instead of 110. Our days are filled with things that we would love to do. And if eating has too many barriers associated with it, it gets put on the back burner. Oh, I'll just make a few more pieces of art. Before you know it, you've already fasted 40 hours without even thinking about it. I'm not exaggerating when I say that. And unfortunately, we have no kitchen sink in our break room. We have a refrigerator, we got a microwave, we even have a toaster oven, and among other things. And it's just really gross. And also, my manager was really upset about me decorating the office. I had a bunch of art in there. I didn't really give him a damn ass about him complaining about that because it's what gives the students rapport. And I straight up told him that, I'll make sure not to intrude in other people's spaces, but this is what gets the students interested in my math. Thank you very much. And I cleaned up the decorations a little bit. And to top it all off, we have really bad cell phone signal in the office. To give you an idea, I'm waiting for an important phone call. I got to leave the phone outside the office just so it will ring. I was in the middle of interviewing for a different college, and I left the phone outside of the office, and it had rung, and I went to pick it up, and it was a recruiter, and we had a really good discussion. And then he asked me if he could see a paper that I had authored a couple years ago. And when I ran into the office to get my computer, I took the phone in the office and it disconnected. It was just really embarrassing. And I had to call him back and apologize that we have really bad. I jokingly said, I hope you guys have good cell phone signals in your buildings because we have this one building that's really wonky, no cell signal and all that. I used it as an opportunity to tell him what really matters to me. And are these things necessarily going to kill me that I have to bring dirty dishes back home from the office to wash at home, or the fact that I have to put my cell phone outside? No, they're not going to kill me, but they add a lot of speed bumps on the road of a day, right? And barriers that you have to think about, right? It's kind of like a chronic disease that forces you to think about it. Imagine that you had I had a colleague who's actually younger than me, and he has recovered from cancer, right? And you can imagine his regimen probably takes a bite out of his day, right? I had another colleague who has type 1 diabetes. His regimen definitely takes a bite out of his day, right? It kind of feels like one of those things, right? Yeah, you can manage it. You can manage washing your dishes at home. You can manage the cell phone signal. You can even tell somebody to email you instead of calling you. But these little nicks in your day really start to add up. They really do. And I wish I could get Central Arizona College to understand the gravity of that, right? It's not just do it this way or that way, right? But going into the next year, I'm going to have to think hard on a number of fronts, right? Obviously, the idea of how to cut into a conversation to ask that girl out on the first date. I don't know if that writing is a good. I'll probably try it on a girl that I don't like all that much just to see where I stand with that, right? Obviously, if I saw, for example, Mary Curry at the next board game meeting, I probably wouldn't try it on her first, right? But if I saw somebody like Taylor Swift and I don't care, yeah, I'll give it a try, right? And no disrespect to any fans of her on this channel. I also have to think about how to ask for those working conditions. I might give it a try because CAC was the lesser priority of the two jobs anyway. Hey, boss, can we talk about some situations in our campus? I think they're adding a lot of distraction to my work, right? I'll probably start it like I'd like to be giving my job 120% instead of 110, but there are a number of small distractions that are kind of taking a toll on me, right? Can we talk about this, right? I give it a bold try because I wouldn't be too upset if I lost this one job out of the two, right? And then I'm a little bit disappointed I didn't get COVID-19 last week. I was with my girlfriend. She ended up with COVID-19. I know it's weird, but I want to get it out of the way before the summer season. But you know what? Maybe I should be a little bit more prepared before the summer season to deal with it in case I do get it, right? Maybe. Anyway, a happy new year. A lot of new goals to try out. I love that reward program. A lot of my friends were chiding me about the whole concept. But you know what happened? After I went on that first date and I gave the friend from church a kilogram of silver and a bunch of other medals and all that, and I went on that date, when I went home, I slept like a baby for the first time in years. If all I got was that good night of sleep, that was totally worth it. And I'm not exaggerating there because I can't tell you how many nights I go to sleep with like my chest is empty. And so there's that. I hope to offer even more rewards, but less expensive, but just more creative ones. And I'll have to think about how to advocate for myself at work with social life and all that. And how to navigate loud environments, how to navigate distractions. And I hope to travel more. This trip and the one in April where I went to Kerrville, even though that was only a road trip, really helped put some clarity into what's going on, right? I didn't have that tick-tock clock ticking sound going in the background. Anyways, we have another TikTok counting to the new year, but that's a positive one, right? So happy new year. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.